recorded.
Yeah, just refer to the report.
All right, we're having an issue. It's recording. Can we just go ahead and proceed and then we'll upload this thing? Once we get it. Thank you.
Everybody tonight to the July meeting of the Pulaski School Board. Everyone's been having a nice summer. I know our staff has been quite busy. We received the Pledge of Allegiance. I will note, as you can see, Ms. Green Fox is not with us tonight. She had a family engagement. She will return in August, so it is May 4th. So we will just go to the Pledge of Allegiance. Without any recognitions tonight, we will just proceed right into recognition of citizens. This is the first public competition, and it's for persons who wish to address the board regarding items that are on the agenda tonight. Items presented by citizens may be referred to the superintendent for research, who may report back to the school board at a subsequent meeting or through other communication. Wish to comment about individual employees or their performance, please present your comments first to the superintendent. Such matters will not be discussed during an open board meeting, and we will limit comments to 3 minutes. Is there anyone wishing to address the school board about tonight's agenda?
Looks like everyone being taken.
Well, it's on my agenda, so I want to put it on for. All right, approval of tonight's minutes. Everybody's had the opportunity to read over regular meeting minutes from the June 10th meeting. I need to get a motion to approve the minutes from our June 10th meeting.
Madam Chair, I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Thank you. Mrs. Porter?
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Mrs. Payne?
Yes.
Mr. Price?
Yes.
And everyone on the board has had an opportunity to read over tonight's agenda. Can I get a motion that we approve the agenda for the July 29th meeting?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Thank you, Mrs. Porter.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Mrs. Payne?
Yes.
Mr. Price?
Yes.
As part of our consent agenda, we've all had the opportunity to look over the preliminary warrant, the personnel report as well. If there are no questions or concern, may I get a motion to approve the consent agenda tonight?
Madam Chair, I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Mrs. Porter.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Mr. Williams? Mrs. Payne?
Yes.
Mr. Price?
Yes.
Mr. Thomas was busy this month.
I don't think my microphone's working, but I'll kind of talk loud. All right, tonight for our first information item is Ms. Morgan Squire, our budget.
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the board, Mr. Graham. Your budget presentation for this evening will look a little different than what I normally give you. Since we still aren't caught up with the treasurer's office, I felt that it would be best to just kind of give you an overview of our carryover, and then once we have our final revenue numbers from the treasurer's office, we can do an updated final budget analysis for June. The handout you have in front of you is our transfer from the general fund, which is the amount that the county appropriates to us every year. You can see that so far we have our transfers through March, and the top there's the budgeted amount less the transfers to date. The numbers for April, May, and June are my estimates based on what's currently in use. Then that leaves us with 1.6 million, and then once we take out the grant carryover, which is detailed to your left, we have I'm estimating about 750,000, carryover to our capital fund.
Anyone have any other questions? Ms. Sawyer? What would that bring the total to in our capital fund?
I think right now it's pretty much depleted as far as the vacancy numbers. So with that and our appropriation for the debt service, it should bring it to about 1.5, 1.6 million. We're not anticipating any cigarette tax revenue. I think Trish said it probably wouldn't even hit 500,000 this year. So probably somewhere around 1.5, 1.6 million.
Have most of the purchase orders relative to Northwood and the other projects that have been submitted?
The purchase orders have been submitted, so they've been accounted for and encumbered, and, I took that into consideration. And then we have the chiller, lights, breezeway, yeah. So with the chiller, that was unexpected, that pretty much wiped it out. So with the carryover, and then, like I said, the debt service, it should be about 1.5, 1.6.
Any other questions?
Good talk.
Thank you. Yes. This is the exciting part, the presentation related to dog care. It's the way we how good.
It's French. They spell it like. It's not supposed to be. My name is Leslie, but I'm an occupational therapist in schools, and I've been in the school system for approximately 27 years. The first 7 years being a contact therapist, department rehab, and the remaining years I've been in school employee. And over those years, I've worked with ages 3 to 21. And during that time, I've had the opportunity to see interaction like some friends in college that have animal system therapy dogs in their school system. Some big colleges in the Virginia area. I've seen the benefits, and it's been a new reminder how to build the school system. So when knowledge was gifted to me by a local breeder and mother, I sort of felt like it was my and she has the best temperament of the 3 buildings I've had. So I thought that it's a good opportunity to propose this and hopefully have her in space. As far as what a certified therapy dog is, there's a lot of confusion between what service animals are, what emotional support animals are, and what certified therapy dogs are. And I know that BDOE has specific guidelines, and we're discussing that. As far as a service dog, they are allowed pretty much in any building, hotels, restaurants, schools, and they are trained and designated to be one-on-one with a person for a specific task, whether it be predicting seizures or helping their human do certain tasks in their home. So they're allowed pretty much wherever they can fly with them, everything, no questions asked. Emotional support, they aren't trained for a specific person, but they don't have the ability to go anywhere. They can fly until the reptiles that are being taken on planes ruin everybody else. But as of right now, they can fly with a person, but they can't. They aren't able to. Well, they say that they don't provide companionship and emotional comfort to a wide group of people. It's mainly for that one person that they provide emotional support to, where therapy dogs are sort of trained to provide comfort to a larger group in a variety of different settings. And they can be trained to tolerate a wide range of different areas and different conditions they can help for the nursing home, schools, hospitals. Emotional support aren't trained that way. So those are some of the things. There's so many reasons that I think dogs in school are beneficial. They definitely foster feelings of safety and acceptance for our kids that are struggling with that. these, I'm not sure why these numbers came up one on. The PowerPoint that I have has 1 through 5. For some reason, the email changed it for me, so it's only 1 through 5. I didn't put it on the next one, check it, mine says 1 through 5. So there was a study done in child development in 2023, it's a journal, and they showed improved academic performance with lower stress levels, improved emotional regulation, facilitated by their programs, associated with better cognitive functioning, better academic outcomes among school age children. They can serve as a great motivator for students. Students can earn the privilege of visiting with the dogs, they can do their work, or be able to read a book to the dogs, and also their reading skills and confidence later. They're really helpful in that one-on-one connection that some students may lack in these capabilities. Research has also shown that the physical act of petting the dog has a calming effect on the well. Very practical and student trauma, dogs provide comfort and unconditional love to things that meet most in that situation. A visit with their dog provides incentive for children who meet anxiety prevented from attending school, and studies have also shown that their dogs help to reduce tardiness. Some students, especially those who struggle with social and emotional learning and self-regulation, benefit from interacting with their dogs and helping them to reach their goals quicker by interacting with them. There's a study done Frontiers in Psychology in 2023 that showed consistent reduction in cortisol levels and perceived stress among children and adolescents in school settings. And those stress levels are linked to better, reduced stress levels are linked to better cognitive processing, consequently improved reading comprehension. And finally, the last research study from the Journal of Psychiatric Research in 2022 found that interactions with their dogs may reduce feelings of loneliness and improve emotional well-being among students, particularly those that face socioeconomic challenges. Who is Nala? Nala is a 2-year-old golden retriever. As I mentioned, it was gifted from a local breeder in Dublin. And I received her at the age of 10 weeks, thanks to my good friend Rebecca Merriman. She knew the breeder, had mentioned that I had a toss cycle before, and I got a phone call, and she wanted to get Nala from a village chicken fire. It was a very special gift, and I'm happy to share this with you. She's had an amazing temperament from the beginning. She was the easiest dog ever trained. I've had 3 goals, as I mentioned, and she's very intuitive. She picks up on things quickly. She currently, and since she was about 6 months old, she attends doggy daycare 2 days a week in Blacksburg. She'll continue that once it depends on what she does on the other days. She enjoys interaction with people and other dogs, clear classrooms, chasing balls, swimming is close second. She loves to kiss and cuddle, have her belly rubbed. The training that she had 2 rounds of obedience training first at Flying Fur and Blacksburg. And then from there, I began the citizen training program. And she passed that test first. And then once passing that test, then she can the first program that I got certified in is Pet Partners. And Pet Partners is pretty restrictive as far as what you can do with your dogs. They only allow dogs to go in their facility for 2 hours at a time. And I'm happy to do that in nursing homes and outpatient settings, things like that. But it wasn't practical in the school system where I work full-time in the schools. So after she got that certification, I then applied with Alliance Therapy Dogs. And she's certified with them as well. And they allow her to go into settings and be with them all day. They were previously Therapy Dog International. That's something familiar to you, but now Alliance Therapy Dogs is taking over that company and they've been in business for over 30 years. So those are the 3 certifications that she has. Canine Citizen, some of the things that she had to do, this is on March 17th that she completed this test. She has to accept friendly stranger, just to sit politely for petting, not jump or run away or anything. Appearance and grooming, just go out for a walk with a lot of different distractions and not be distracted, stay with you while she does that. Walking to over a large crowd, sitting down on command, staying in place. If you walk 20 feet away, she has to stay and not move that space. Coming and call, reaction of the dog, we have a couple different dogs, that she would have to walk past and not want to play with them, leave me. Then reaction to distractions. People with a walker like banging around, dropping books, a lot of different distractions. We tolerate that. And then supervised separation, where I would leave the room, go around the corner, she couldn't see me, she had to wait 3 to 5 minutes. And there was like, so from there, we went on to the pet farms on May 15th, and then I went to their dog service station on June 15th. Some of the issues, I know that the first thing that comes up is what about allergies in the school? I know that's a big concern. And what about people that are afraid of dogs? So, and I definitely don't want to make anyone uncomfortable. I'm definitely extra super cautious about that. I don't want that to be an issue as well. So there is an opt-out letter that several current school systems have implemented. And this is just a sample of that letter, and I wrote it as if it were for novel in our county. It's an opt-out that go home to anyone in the school. However, we decide to do that. We go home to every student in the school that she would be in. They can go home to the students that are on my caseload that I can offer directly in my room. We can figure that part out. I would like to start small and have her just with, one-to-one with students right now, and then as she's comfortable in the building and, larger groups. I don't want to take her into classrooms yet. That's a whole another set of exposure with a lot of children at that time. Eventually, possibly we could do that. But I think in the beginning, we'll just have to figure out which parents we need to send them home to, as far as having the opportunity for them to opt out if they don't want their child to interact with their dog, if they have to opt out. That's as far as the primary role, she would be a co-therapist with me in the occupational therapy treatment room. I currently work at Riverlawn Elementary, Dublin Elementary, the high school, and then I go to the alternative schools we have in the county, in Woodville, Gateway, and Dublin. So she would be with me, and Andy was saying all the time, she would never be unattended. She'd always be by my side. Secondary roles, possibly like a periodic morning reader for students, faculty, and staff that are coming in buildings at several entrances once they're more comfortable. So, potential reward for students that are on accepted plans, community events, and appropriate school assembly. Last year, we had our book that we were reading. They brought in with their dog, Mia's their dog, for that school assembly because it was all about dogs. As far as safeguards, as I mentioned, she will be under my supervision as her handler at all times. Both ATV and pet partners require that. Optional. Now will be kept on the lead at all times within around the school and campus. She'll never be left alone with students. She'll be kept stay on all vaccinations, so they take part in them. She'll be regularly groomed and regularly bathed. And that is a requirement of ATP. They require that the dog be bathed within 24 hours. She is well, she'll be left alone. She'll have space in my office, which will be her safe spot for required rest breaks or she's overwhelmed. She'll have regular scheduled bathroom breaks of 2 to 3 hours. She'll have access to fresh water and drinks throughout the day. She is food motivated, so she wakes up, she eats at 6. There's no waiting later for that, and then she eats again when I get home from work, usually around 6. So as far as I can figure her the day, that would be, she just eat a good meal, she would get treats. She is a very active dog. She loves to exercise, and it definitely helps to keep her calm and regulated. So she gets at least a mile walk in the morning, and I'll walk in the evening, sometimes I would like to do that, in the Barnaby part of the curriculum, school portion to be open. As far as insurance, with my membership and my, enrollment with ATD, I have a commercial general liability and excess liability or current insurance policy with a $5 million aggregate, for occurrence, as well as, we have, DNS costs, that are included as part of that liability too. I'm willing to DC LLC, that's the insurance company.
She also covered the bank board as well.
And she would, when she, if she brought up into the school, she would come into the school 2-3 times a week on set days. So it wouldn't be every school 2 to 3 days, it'd be on one day of the week, out of 1 day of the week. Also the high school 1 day of the week. And then once things were going well, we passed the 14 every day. I would like for other schools, to get to meet her and get to see her eventually. Probably not right in the beginning, because the school's about that right now at the time, until she sort of gets settled in. And then we can talk more about that once we get to that point. I don't want anyone to feel left out from not getting to experience Malva. And I'm hoping that maybe, once we get an established program, that would so that we could have possibly more than one dog that's quite a lot for us. So the next steps, that we necessary developing written guidelines and policies for Pulaski County School academic program. Which is letter home with parents and guardians to occupy more. Morning announcement videos to sort of introduce y'all and set sort of rules and expectations for students and staff. Now, I'm going to talk with Cass, I apologize for that, especially when I'm nervous. Really quick, does anyone have any questions?
Same. I don't go watch Leslie over at Fox, she's amazing. There, and I totally endorse with her. I feel like they don't want to make something that's very specialty, but I think the fact that you must start small, and I could ever consider about, I can guarantee you that if they don't teach you a lot, then you can have school also.
Yes. What struck me is that whole list of 111 and 16, but all benefits of it yet reminded me of when my grandmother told me every child should have a dog. I mean, that's like the best friend. That's what they can go to. You touch on all that. My only suggestion might be we see there's a little bit of an issue with parents don't necessarily look through their kids' backpacks and look for the top down right information. Yeah. That would be aggressive and making sure they know. Yes. And otherwise it might be, I didn't sign, I didn't opt them out of this. That's all I was.
I think it's something they have to worry about is if you're around.
Right. And certainly for my caseload, I have a caseload of around 50 students, so I could certainly, if you don't get that form back, I could reach out to them directly, follow through with my students. And then the principals have certain students that they have in mind, then we could call that. Or, that's a great suggestion. I would reach out to them instead of chicks see the kids growing up and how to do that, right? It's in there for 3 weeks before.
If the board chooses to be fair, if Leslie would go ahead and put together some guidelines, I don't really know the policy.
Yes.
The guidelines, and then they bring back on August 12th. We'll put it as an action item for.
In 2 weeks, I'm sorry. Yes.
Leslie, you might want to reach out to this, if you know people wants the same programming, or RCC, we have 2 dogs that are having a Charmer, Kansas this year. Might have some documentation.
Yeah.
Well, I could get a contact. It's like, I've written like this before, I just want to make sure it's right.
You know, like balance. Yeah, balance for those, for their bill.
I just did their comment, they were checking it out, I was like, oh, we'll keep going, yes. That's a big, that's a big thing.
Biggest seller for you. Thank you so much.
Thank you all very much. Appreciate your time. And here, you know, I was just like,
Absolutely, that's the reason.
Anything else, listening to Josh, Steve, 4.79? It's the same sort of.
Okay, Ronnie C. updates, Mr. Dave Atkins will be joining us.
Or Dave has to all of that.
Yeah, Paul Crowley's over there.
Yeah, it's so good. We can give the elevator beforehand. Madam Chair Wilson and, board members, and Mr. Graham, thank you for having me. I just wanted to give you a little bit of an update on the thing, the transfers, the why, what we're doing with the school system, and to give you the opportunity to ask any questions or, make any suggestions. So, first of all, this is always the, kind of most exciting one for most people is we're going to again do the second grade water safety and introduction to swimming program. This program will continue to operate in 2025 school year. Our staffing will remain with 2 certified lifeguards on duty at all times who would only enter the water in an emergency situation. A minimum of 1 instructor and 1 assistant that are actually in the water during lessons. It could vary up to about 3 or 4 depending on the number of kids. And an additional person on deck, and they like to call her pool ball, and she just kind of stands, she just kind of is there to assist the school chaperones with needs of the children, and just serve as an extra asset of eyes. She is not a lifeguard or swim instructor. The program operates 8 consecutive months, basically. There are a total of about 120 scheduled sessions each year, and each class has 6 45-minute lessons. Okay, so they go 6 weeks in a row unless there's a holiday week or something like that. All 5 elementary schools participate. Any second grader who has parental permission can come, they can join. The YMCA staff, we check the locker rooms. We have separate locker rooms for our adults and for our children. We check those locker rooms before the kids enter the locker room to make sure nobody's in there. We check them again to make sure nobody's in there before we let them in back out of the water. We escort the students to the door each day when they're leaving. The students receive a free YMCA tote bag to take their wetsuits home in, and then they forget them the next week. But that's a real popular thing that they see a lot. The students also receive a certificate at the end of their 6-week class. And at the end of the class, this is new this year, we're going to give each student a free pass to return to the YMCA with their parents or with their family, so they can come back. So they have a lot of them say, I want to come back, I want to come back. So we're doing that. So, any questions on the swim program?
I was saying, that means the second grade all did a lot.
Good, well, I'm glad to hear that.
How many kids taking swim? How many kids are actually involved in all second grade?
Oh, gosh. We have about 20 times 5 times 6, whatever that works out to be. So I would say probably roughly 80% of the second graders.
100%,
80%. Yeah, about 80% of the kids do that. So I think that's a pretty good number.
When I used to be substitute teaching in Pulaski Elementary, and there were times to set out in companies, so that our second grade is up for the swim lessons, and then we, correct me if I'm wrong, this would take place during the regular scheduled PE class normally, right?
I don't think it's their regular PE class, I think it's specials, and that's kind of a new term for me, but their specials class. Then the schools have been great to work with us where we can schedule back, so I don't have to have lifeguards that are sitting around for a couple hours doing nothing. So I think it's the specials class.
Okay, so then, I mean, I know it's easy to get class, elementary there, rise or down, whatever, you have classes, we were all high. But, you know, that guy from Snowville takes a little time, and then after 45 minutes, swim class.
When I went last year with Snowville there too, they had about, I think there were 14 or 15 students, so that was highly interesting, because there's a little small. Right, they had, almost like they had 3 classes last year, but they had 2 sessions last year. Maybe they did too, but yeah. And then the principals are really good about if there's a need for a reschedule or something like that, so we're getting their schedule. So if they need to go during a link arts time, they'll make up the link arts time to send the students to school. Okay. All right. The next thing I want to talk about is our YXL at School Enrichment Program. The YXL at School is an after-school enrichment program. I think we had another successful year last year. You may remember prior to the 23-24 school year, we appeared to have a lack of consistency, meaning that our people would call in that we didn't have anybody to send over. We were, unfortunately, this was before my tenure, but we were letting parents know at the last minute, hey, you don't have anywhere to leave your kids today. And I'm proud to report that in the 23-24 school year, we operated every school site, every scheduled day with adequate staff. In the 25, I think I've done this wrong, but in the 24-25 school year, we did the same thing with one exception. We had one day in Snowville where about 10 o'clock in the morning we said, we do not have anybody that we can send over there. And I called Miss Roosberry and she said, well, that's good because most of our staff's out of things. So it was around that time. And that is the only day that we missed. As in 23-24, there were occasional issues with disciplinary and those kind of things that you guys have to deal with too. I think the principal would agree, at least they told me that they did, that they were handled quickly and effectively. And they had no real problems. Okay? Now, the current YXL school program, we're operating at 4 of the 5 elementary schools. We combine Chrysler and Pulaski because it's just such an easy thing to do and it's easier for us to staff. And quite honestly, Chrysler didn't really have enough in the past to have a full place. So we combined those. We ordered a child care license at each school, including Chrysler. We went ahead and renewed that license this year. We are inspected for compliance by Virginia DOE, and those inspections happen at least twice a year, and we're held to the same standards there as we are in our own child care facilities. Sites are appropriately staffed to be in full compliance with ratio requirements. I think in most cases, we far exceed the ratio requirements. There's time allotted for snacks, homework, and other activities. We operate every school day from dismissal until 6 p.m., meaning that if there's a short day for the teachers, where they let out at 1 o'clock, 12 o'clock, we're there at 1 o'clock or 12 o'clock, whatever it is they get out. Last year we operated a winter break camp at Dublin Elementary School. We plan to pursue that again this year. We're going to do it a little bit differently, just to include more people. Of course, we're still working with a parent advisory group with one parent from each school, one principal, and I have not gotten that person yet, myself and my child care director. We're investigating the need for and logistics of offering morning care in schools as well. We'd like
several months. I've talked to some principals, and I thought we were gonna be able to launch that, when school started, and we all kind of decided that we needed a little bit more work with logistics of how that would look. Because we just, my philosophy is I don't want to launch something that I'm gonna have to go fix later, so we're gonna kind of hold on. So any questions on our YXL program?
You mentioned on your bread snacks, you know, I work with them in other activities to help, is there any tutoring that can take place?
We don't do tutoring ourselves. Now, at some of the schools, they pull them out of our program and take them into a tutor. We're not opposed to where, as a matter of fact, Mr. Gray and I talked about that last year, I think it was. And we are not opposed to at all. We would be eager to work with you guys on doing a little bit more of that. We do provide a little bit of homework assistance and the other thing that we want to work a little bit more on, we've got a couple of schools that they do supper, and the other two, we just do a snack. So we're trying to get that a little figured out too. And we're working with Jessica. Yes. Okay. All right. Any other questions? All right. We do an Institutes to Award Scholarship and Attendance. We thought this went very well last year. We want to publicize it a little bit better. The YMCA will continue to reward high school and middle school students for academic achievement and/or exemplary attendance. This seems to be an important tool in improving in both of those areas, and students are awarded as follows. They get a free individual youth membership for being named to the AB honor roll in middle school or attaining a 3.0 GPA in high school, and missing less than 4 days during the preceding academics. This year, that's turned into most of them for a full year of membership. That was fine. But we give them a 50% discount on an individual youth membership as well if they're on the AB honor roll or 3.0 or have the 4 days. So we give them a free one if it's both. We give them 50% off if they attain one of those. Okay? The program's open to any Pulaski County High School or Pulaski County Middle School students. Any questions on that?
What does music bring to their life down there in the role? Who does that? So what does student have to bring, or what do they use to validate?
That's one of the areas, I'm sorry,
That's fine. Well, the technical folks say people want to eat.
Yeah, and we're going to work a little bit better on how we communicate that, because if they're bringing letters right now, or if they bring it, I mean, we're getting a tool for that as well. We'll communicate a little better on how that transpires. Any other questions on that? Okay. Teacher Employee of the Month recognition will again be offering recognition for school system teachers and employees of the month. The Teacher of the Month and Teacher of the Year receives their choice of either a free 12-month individual membership or a free 6-month family membership. So each month that y'all do that, then we're given a certificate for that. And the Employee of the Month and Employee of the Year receives the same option. Every month, the YMCA contacts the appropriate school, prints and delivers the certificates prior to the regular school board meeting, and we deliver them to the school board office. Good? Any questions about that? Okay. The Pulaski County High School swim team, I haven't had a chance to talk to Mr. Best, but we plan to offer that again this year. We'll continue to offer our pool as the practice facility for the high school swim team. Unfortunately, our lanes, we don't have enough lanes to utilize it as a competition pool, but this provides them a practice pool for the team. And in the past, there's been, insufficient funds to pay for us, as our regular pool rental, but we've just been doing enough to cover the lifeguards. And I'm pretty happy with that. And, we provide 2 lifeguards, your price, we provide 2 lifeguards anytime. If there's one person, we've got 2 lifeguards.
Because my question will provide more, and what funds do we dedicate to swim team to rent?
It's part of it, they have like budget that just drives that. It's not budget funds, it's more of
School-based,
school-based.
so we get pretty much anything that any other would.
We don't cover.
No, it's usually like probably whatever they fundraise. We don't typically a lot or,
We get a really good deal.
yeah, because I know the schools, they pay us back for.
That's what I'm getting at, we make fundraise to have field to lay on. Sorry, that's what I'm getting at. Yeah.
Well, it was, luckily, when we were sending away for CAC, it cost us, I think, a lot more. So it's actually reduced the budget for just us too. We also kind of allow us to get athletics to share some money to help with it as well. So they give us a great deal for that too. Just much appreciated because we're spending a lot of transportation, whatever the CAC, from here, including the rental of one, we get one lead in there now. So that's the good part for us.
And they get, if I might understand, they get home water, which is just, than being has to bus over the road. Okay? So our other partnerships and benefits, we offer our kids and employees your employees several other benefits. We are honored to host athletes, and I don't know if I'm supposed to tell this part, but I'm going from there. Pulaski County High School came to us and said, and it wasn't the coaches, it was not 100%. And said, hey, we need a place for our kids to go during the no contact periods. And how much would you charge me to do that? We did that for free. We just said, if you're a Pulaski County High School athlete, and we would have done it for anybody that asked, to be honest, but, we did that for them, and they don't have a problem with doing that in the future. They've got no contact periods. They can come and continue their training at our facility. Just, and no coaches can. So we won't run afoul there. The YMCA offered free admission to PCS employees during the month of July. I wonder if you people take advantage of that. We work closely with the associate superintendents to secure a couple of times to secure emergency spots for our YMCA program. We just are able to make that happen pretty quickly when they have a need. Quick responses to any last minute changes or needs from either party, and especially, I cannot say enough about the principals at the elementary schools, how, I can pick up the phone, or they can pick up the phone and say, hey, we got this going on. Here's the swing, can you accommodate that? Vice versa, it goes both ways. They're going, we really appreciate that. And that extends, as I said there, to after hours. I mean, we're on snow days with the principals saying, okay, what do you guys do? What are we doing? And that is really appreciated. Mr. Graham's been kind enough to let me tap their maintenance experts on a few occasions to say, hey, we're in over our head. Can you give us some advice? And they're very quick to give us advice of who should you contact these type of things. We, of course, do special pricing for memberships for Pulaski County public school employees, including payroll deduction on that, if they so desire, and an openness to be thought-provoking partners on mutual ideas and issues. It is not uncommon for Mr. Graham and myself to say, hey, what do you think about this idea? And sometimes they go somewhere, sometimes they don't, and that is just a great thing to be able to have. So can I answer any questions?
You said that you can do payroll deduction into our employees?
Yes, ma'am. It is a 15% discount, and we can do payroll deduction.
Okay.
And do for quite a few people.
I mean, I know a lot of students that have students, which is wonderful, but, I don't want to get it down because I think a lot of our employees have been dedicated to some exercise places.
Okay, we would love to work with you. Okay?
Dave, thank you. We value your partnership. It's what you do for us.
Thank you. Likewise. Likewise.
Thank you very much. When I hear working in schools, the after-school program is immensely needed in this community, and where I I'm very pleased here that we would try to continue to expand on the services of the grant.
I agree with you 100%. And the thing about our program, if I understood what you said, the thing about our program is we do it at school. We are the ones carrying the licenses at the schools to do that. And that's something that, as far as I know, nobody else is offering. Other than driving, they never have to leave.
You mentioned, I mean, it's old right now, but a morning program, what would that look like when we get that going?
All right, can I talk in hypotheticals?
Absolutely.
Okay. What we were interested in doing is maybe getting to the school, have somebody to get to the school about 6:45. And that would give the 7 o'clock workers time to get to work. And then we would care for them until they were able to go to the class. And my vision would be, or what Mr. Graham and I talked about, was that we would release them to go into breakfast, and we would care for them until school regularly opened. So we're only talking probably an hour, 15 minutes. We could go as early as 6:30 if saw a need for it. But there's just some logistical issues that we need to work out with the principals as far as, how do we, where do we, share the space? What's the space that we share to do that? And how do we keep parents, this was one big one that I never thought about, was how do we keep parents that go around the circle and say, our kids going in, and it's like, oh, okay, we can send them all in there, and somebody will take care of it, which of course we would. I mean, on a one-time or couple of time basis, we would never let a kid out. But those are some of the challenges that we're trying to work through a little bit, to talk through, and then I think that we can do.
Mr. Chairman, would early arrival and access to chapel services at all?
It should, because a lot of that's done in the evening and at night.
Actually, that would be one more, two people that don't know that.
Yeah, absolutely. They are not very early, they're custody too. We wouldn't want the principals to be there any earlier, so they can work. The one problem that we have is what they just said is they, you know, you have to just in line waiting to go in. And we have children going in to start this program that have paid, and others going in and out of it. So we gotta figure that out. It's sorely needed in the last few weeks. I mean, I hear the parents all the time about, I take my children earlier. And of course, there's not a ton of childcare in Pulaski too for early morning parents that go to work, you know, around 6 o'clock. So we're going to continue to look at it.
And the line is 5 o'clock, so we're there about 5:15, and we would have somebody there. We have a manager cover all shifts, so we would have somebody there that if the kid didn't show up, or an extra kid didn't show up, we would have a managing person that would make the decision in addition to that lead person. Okay? Well, I appreciate it. Thank you very much. I voted to start the ball.
All right, I'll get the exciting things out of the way. I'm moving on to VSBA policy update discussion. These are policies that were presented to us back in June. And I do know a couple questions came to me, board members, and so we
designated this time for those, questions to be there. He's going back, perhaps, Mr. Graham can answer some of them. I don't have all the answers.
I have a circle here, if you want to just go down the lines that maybe, Ms. Crawford, I think she put a policy.
She put a lot of them together for us, yeah, the vast majority of them, I think that I can understand them. I know a lot of these that are coming out of new state law.
Correct.
That passed.
That's right.
And so, that's, the first one, of course, I think everybody's talking about is the cell phone, policy, which we already have one in place, and that was based on an executive order. The DOE handed down guidance, but now it's been codified in state law. And so our policy, will look very similar already, not exactly what we've had in place. One question I have, I think Josh may have it too, is we're currently at the high school level, you know, around for the lunchtime usage as an incentive or to, you know, reward good behavior. Should that unravel at some point, or we're not getting the intended outcome from that, would we have some ability with the policy? I mean, how do we enforce, or how do we take away, take back?
I think if it pleases you all, we would love to keep what we currently have, with elementary, no phones at all, not even on buses. Middle, they have them in their backpacks or in their lockers, not used every day. And then, of course, at the high school, like you just said, before school, before the bell, after the bell, and if they've earned it during lunch. But if that were to, if the students didn't follow the requirements that they needed to have an event lunch, we would certainly come back to you all and ask you to make that stronger.
I think the policy we have is a happy compromise, but seeing the language has changed from what's in the law, I just question, are we in good legal standing, and seeing what other districts around us have done. But if we have that latitude, I would like to keep it, but if, like Ms. Payne said, if we notice that trend up, we would be able to change that.
Yeah, these are policies that you all approve, so even though they're written by the BSBA and, vetted by the BSBA through legal and things, they're not forced on us by the BSBA. These are things that we can, redirect or revise as you all feel appropriate and you feel is good for our students.
When we were in Richmond, we had different stations, we decided to, one of the ones was like a legal counseling or courses for that.
Yeah.
And Eugene specifically asked me about this, you know, this is what the law and executive order says, bell to bell. Because it is bell to bell. And I said, if we decided to do something different, are we in violation of anything like that? And her answer was no, we could craft it.
Yeah, you can craft it. And I would, I mean, of course, we want to go with what recommendations are, we also want to do what's fair for our students. And I feel like if we were to change that based upon, the legislation and the new policy that came in, if we took that away from our high school students, I feel like we're punishing them for nothing they did.
We really not had a full year to implement it to see what it does.
Yes, you do.
We give it some time to see if they.
You do. I mean, I know there were a lot of divisions last year that really struggled with this and talked about it a lot in their meetings. We were very lucky. When Ms. Blevins is in here, she can tell you that, in middle school at least, it was a whole lot better than it was the year before. Because we didn't have that payment line. And there's not many who take them out. And if they did take them out, she and the administrator were on immediately. I can tell you, and Jennifer and her crew are at the fair with bingo tonight. But they would say they value the lunchtime. It just seems to provide a distraction, I think, and maybe entertainment and the ability to continue to communicate with their friends. So unless they abuse it, I say we keep it the same. We can word that in here. But you all, like Mr. Williams said, you're the ones who are in charge of the policies and approving those the way you feel like they meet the best needs of our students and teachers and staff and community.
Even put something in the policy. When we get these are just straight off the press down here, we have to fill in the blanks.
Yes, sir.
Can you go in and add things like this can be removed and changed at any time?
what I've been told that you don't wanna do is you don't want to, do anything that compromises the integrity of the policy. So what we would do in that case is probably do a regulation behind it that says that the Pulaski County School Board, has the right to amend the cell phone policy at any point during the
So
year.
you leave it as written,
You're supposed to leave it as written because you don't wanna revise it so that you compromise it, legally.
Well, with that one, JFCM, there is a portion where we insert,
Yes.
specific to elementary school.
Yes, that whole portion right here that you're talking about right there,
We
yes.
insert that. The only thing I would say, I think being very fair to our students, the only claim of maybe unfair might come on the enforcement side of it. Because from classroom to classroom, teacher to teacher, is that being uniformly enforced?
So the code of conduct, Becky, correct me if I'm wrong here, because I don't want to say, but in the code of conduct, you have something in there about cell phones. And how it is consistently disciplined if they do use them inappropriately.
It's in our, student handbook.
Student handbook, thank you. Yes, so it's in that, I believe it's in the high school student handbook too, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
And those in our school are noted as cell phone violations in the district law, so we can pull that data and see if it trends up or down.
Sure can.
I'm not sure if we had any last year, and we took phones away and gave them back to the class right the day. But I don't know that we put any, we might have, I would check that, but we put any in our school, because we didn't have any.
I know the high school has those yonder pouches too, and they'll put it in there for the time being, the child still can get them at the end of the day, as long as it's not multiple violations. So I think it's worked very, very well, and I would, again, hate to take that away from them unless they do lose it.
Well, the encouragement of our staff to be great examples, don't pull the phone out of the classroom, or
Correct.
tell kids they can't have it.
Right.
There's another one?
Yeah, I think this is one of the biggest piles that we ever got from time. Just kind of going through them, you can think of questions on, so.
Okay.
I got a few of them to talk about. So KQ is one that's a commercial, promotional, and corporate sponsorships and partnerships.
Did you, somebody also had a question about JHC instead of student health service, that's an optional policy that we did not want to do,
The
actually.
one where you get the optional teletherapy
Yes.
services,
We
I think
have-
that one, I don't see where it's so much applicable.
Yeah.
We have available to our
We have so many
students.
resources that are available right now.
Right.
We weren't going to, unless you all want us to put that in.
I thought it was just are we adding another level of responsibility of carving out time into our schedule when we really need to stay in the lane of education?
Right, we have New York Valley Community Service and then our school counselors, you know, it's really.
Right, we're a student in the school-based health center.
Yeah, we're lucky to have all that. I'm sorry, Mr. Williams, you said.
No, that was one of the ones in my file too. So
Okay.
it's gone.
Okay.
So KQ, commercial, promotional, and corporate sponsorships and partnerships. I'm not sure, you ever had policy on this before? It's KQ.
Yes,
Yes, it's been, let's see. So that policy was revised to reflect the amendments of the code. So the legislature, would be one of those legislative changes that they have. I think it's been, Bruce, you may help me here, that's been in policy in Pulaski. I don't think you look at that on the policy doc to see when it was updated. Usually when they come out like this, if they're brand new, they'll have 2025 on.
Young, while she's looking on this kind of thing, go through it.
Okay, sure.
I mean, the definition of it is an educational partnership, a mutually beneficial cooperative relationship in which partners share values, objectives, or human or financial resources to enhance learning. Is arrangement pursuant to, which the sponsor provides money, price reductions, equipment, material services, or other benefits in exchange for recognition of this project. All right, I mean, I'm thinking Sheila Murdoch, if it's gonna put a thing on the different pages to do it, you know, you go down there, it says, I don't have in school, or privileged managers, sponsorships, as long as it doesn't extend beyond a single school year superintendent mayor's, it's the same thing, you know, single year, $5,000. Is this different than our current purchasing system when we get quotes on things and stuff? To me, it's like, you would be negotiating sponsorships with them, pay us $5,000 in exchange for.
It almost sounds like when we have a fence up the football field and they ask for a sign to be put up there, that's what I think that policy is.
They're paying us.
Yeah, they're paying us.
Yeah, so we don't have to.
Yeah, we don't have to do anything with it unless we come to you all and you feel like it's a good thing to do.
I mean, I just think that there's also convenience you can do a sponsorship review committee, which I think is a good idea, because, you know, just when it comes to exchanging money and things like that, I think it's good. Would the money stay locally at the school, that you're doing that?
Yes.
That's
It wouldn't come to us locally for Morgan, that is for them to use for donation purposes, or like Mr. Taylor was saying, you know, to help with the swimming pool or things like that. So that's why and that's why there's a $5,000 limit to that too, because we don't want to exceed that, because we do like to keep track of all the money that goes to them, even though they're needing it themselves.
Do we do anything like that now, you know, like school boards and?
Well, I was gonna say, it was originally adopted in 2002, it was last revised July 2023.
Okay.
I'm not sure, because it goes straight to the school.
I would think that I do think there's, and since the fence has been torn down, I can't remember, but I feel certain that there are, I know I think there's a Martin's Pharmacy, there was Martin's Pharmacy, there's a Sheeler, there's some other insurance and things like that I'm sure Mr. Best can tell us what kind of money he's getting for those. And I believe there's some in the gymnasium too.
It has to be renewed annually.
Yes,
These
sure does.
sponsorships. But like you say, in theory, we're talking about our school team using the pool area. If the sponsor stepped forward and said, we'd like to cover the cost of that,
Absolutely.
they'd be free to do that.
Absolutely. Based on that policy.
And we don't have to put their logo on the bathing suits or anything. Okay.
I don't think they would want us to do that.
I just want to make sure we're not obligated to, advertise, but still.
No, I mean, if they want to say, I want to put a banner up in the football field for the football season, or however much money it is, then we certainly, would, do that. But like you said too, GMB annually.
And,
So on that, the sponsorship review committee, is that something we can do?
I'm sorry,
The sponsorship review committee that it mentions, is that something we can do?
if you all would like to do that as a school board, sure.
The next one I have, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Yep.
Yes.
The next one I have is the charter school.
Okay.
LC, LC,
LC and LCE.
and yeah, LC and LCD, I got together. Talk to me about that.
So those, when you have, so it's not a private school, so it's not Valley Harvest or, what's the other one that we have? Mayflower, thank you. Because those are parents paying into the private school. Correct. The charter schools would be somebody wanting to come into Pulaski County to open up a charter school that would use funding that comes to Pulaski County from the state. And they have to have our permission, they have to apply to do that because they are receiving, those students then would go through a type of application process to be a part of that charter school. So we don't have any in Pulaski County. In fact, I don't know of any in the New York Valley.
It's bigger cities that.
Yes.
So let me ask you this, hypothetically, if one came in, and it reads in here, it's a lottery process, and children, parents can put their children in there. Does the money that we normally go to Pulaski County public school system now be diverted?
Sure would.
That's what would happen.
Yes, sir.
Is that done, do we divert it to them, or is that something the state now reroutes it to?
It will, if they apply and then they are approved, then the state money would still, my understanding, and Morgan, maybe I'm wrong here, but my understanding is it still would come to us, and then we would route it towards the charter school.
Yeah.
Because those are still, you can't have a charter school and have Rapid City kids. You have a charter school and have Pulaski County kids, so you're still using ADM from Pulaski County.
mean, inside of this, it talks about you can be a district-wide.
Yes,
You can be district-wide, so you can do that kind of thing.
sure.
It reads that, you know, I think there's law tied to it too, that we have to at least consider. I mean, the application process.
Oh, yeah, if somebody wants to come in and start a charter school, we have to listen to them.
Yes, and they have to do an application process.
Yes, sir.
Start education.
That's correct.
This one, again, it also allows for a review committee. The board, I think that's something we should have in place if they ever happen.
And that can't be, I think you can have a member of the board being on that review committee, but you can't have all the members on there because it's conflict of interest.
Have
So,
we ever had anyone
not for years.
pursue
I don't,
Anderson charter school?
I don't know if we'll ever see one.
I'm not sure we will either.
Population's not
There's
this.
not that many in Virginia.
Well, I think when you have these larger, Northern Virginia and Virginia Beach, Richmond area, and some parents tend to be upset with how the public schools being run, then they create a charter school. But that doesn't guarantee them that their child can be in it, because it is, like you said, it's a lottery system.
Yeah. I mean, I had one of my best friends, his son, they're in Greensboro, and there was a triad math and science, and he was third party owned by a Turkish company, lottery. Only thing provided everything, they had sports teams and everything, except they didn't have buses. You had to bring the children there. But down there, man, there's so many students, when you got, like, I was talking to some other board members in Richmond, I think it was Virginia Beach we talked to, there's 26 high schools.
Oh, I'm sure, yeah.
You know, and it's hard for me to fathom that.
Just somebody,
We try to do as much as we can outside of our families and work. How in the world would you ever go to 26 high schools in the middle schools that ever done it?
makes you feel good about being in a small town.
Yes, exactly my thought. But that's all my questions on the policy.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, somebody had one about home instruction too.
That was one, we had one of those.
Yeah.
But I do believe I was able to answer that.
Oh, okay.
Because it was, there were some changes to what qualifies as homeschooling, or we have to keep up with them a little.
We do, in fact, Dr. Grant does that, she and Candace Richardson do that, we have evaluations coming in right now, in fact, I think we got 2 or 3 today, didn't we? So they have to meet a nationally norm standard, and they have to meet a certain percentile on that nationally norm standard, and it's not real high.
Right, but in no way interfered with, I mean, if a parent decided specifically for religious reasons, they want to pull their child to homeschool them, it didn't prevent that. They still have that absolute right to do that.
They do.
We just are making sure,
Correct.
follow-ups and testing that.
And once you all approve of a religious exemption, they don't have to have it approved ever again.
Right.
And they don't have to send in the yearly requirements to homeschool, they don't have to do the evaluations.
They don't have to fill that.
Not if you're religious exempt.
Not for that exemption.
So just to add on to that, there's two different kinds of homeschooling. A religious exemption was once its own thing. And then we have this home instruction.
Correct.
For religious reasons. And just reading through it, it talks about this stuff. So if someone said, I'm just going to homeschool my child, immunizations, just reading through it and gives a list of everything. Those students have to have all their immunizations, all the testing, just like they were sitting in the classroom.
Unless they're homeless, unless they apply for the religious exemption, like we had a student today apply for a religious exemption for vaccination, we have to send them a form that they have to get signed off on, so they have to follow the same regulations that our students do in the public school system.
Thank you.
Okay, well, I think now that we've had those questions answered, we also have this listed as an action item on tonight's agenda, and we'll go ahead and proceed
Okay,
with that.
sounds good, thank you all.
PCPS Comprehensive Improvement Plan, Dr. Grant.
Exciting stuff. Madam Chair, School Board, Superintendent Graham. It's my pleasure to talk to you today and let you know that we have a draft of a comprehensive improvement plan. And we write that for the next 5 years. So I put a note on the first page of it says, the data will be updated as soon as we get all our accreditations finalized, and it will have more in it. But here is an outline template. A lot of it is based on our priority areas
Yes.
Chronic absenteeism, reading and math proficiency, closing the achievement gap for students with disabilities and economically disadvantaged students, and then increasing the graduation rate. So as we finalize our data, we'll have extensive data in for section 2, the context and the baseline data. A lot of information from the strategic plan that you saw before is in here because it outlines our goals and our strategies to get there. And then in the back, you have the timeline for the next 5 years, things that we're going to lay out to do. So it did focus on stakeholder engagement as well, and that also really correlates to a lot of the attendance efforts that we've had. So I wanted you to see this. Hopefully next month we'll have some final data that you can see real numbers and our plan of action. Does anybody have any questions?
I have one, and only I think just a point of clarity. What defines an economically disadvantaged student, and what is their percentage of our students that fall under that designation?
I would say,
So it's those students that qualify for CEP eligibility,
free reduced lunch.
well, they're free, not everybody's still free right now. And then there's some other, opportunities too that will qualify you, like famous and foster care, homeless and things of that nature too. And I think that we have to have, a certain percentage in order to meet CEP. Unfortunately, Jessica's not here, so but I'd say we're close to 65 to 70%.
It's one of the things in your superintendent's report.
Yes.
If there's a problem,
Right.
you kind of have to do the math to figure the percentage out. But it's around 70%.
Yeah, it is.
That fall in the category. also.
Yes, it's a high number for Pulaski too, but it's a lot of Southwest Virginia's.
Well, yeah, they're all like that, and that's why I find it, so our comprehensive improvement plan is really targeting the majority of our students.
It's majority, it's our.
What would you say, Sarah, it is?
The fall membership, according to the Virginia School Quality Profile,
Yeah.
we're at 43.6. But I don't think that, I think it's probably higher.
Yeah, that's not counting everything that goes into all of our students that are eligible.
Before we had CEP, we had schools that were hitting 65, 70%, particularly on this end of the county for this band.
And a lot of that has to do with what the parents fill out, as far as forms, and if they're honest, and if they fill it out correctly for all the kids. And that's also how we have Title I schools, it's based on that number. So.
We can get that number. I think Lincoln can Debbie get that for us and send it to me, and I can send it to the board members.
Usually elementary numbers are higher than.
I mean, I figured, it's probably
Yeah.
around 60%.
So what you're saying is right, if we are targeting everybody, everybody is our focus. So,
Well, we're Title I.
yep.
School-wide. So,
Yeah, I agree with, a plan like this, how are you gonna go in and put them on or check and see how it's going, quarterly or?
So we have to progress monitor this. So different pieces of this is looked at quarterly, our data. We have benchmark tests. We've got BALS testing for reading skills and comprehension. That started last year and it's now moving up through 8th grade. So we'll do that 3 times a year. So benchmarks, depending on it, for elementary, it's 3 times a year plus your SOL. Semester, you'll have 2 or 3 benchmarks and then your SOL or your end of year exam, final exam. So we look at that. Principals also conference with teachers about their data and their plan to move their kids towards mastery. And so it's almost a weekly thing, a lot of this, because in PLCs, professional learning communities, grade levels and departments meet weekly, and they talk about the data. And then, they create flexible group, ideally speaking, they create flexible groups for kids that need certain skills, and they try to hone in on that skill that next week so it doesn't, snowball. So parts of this, like the academic piece, I would say weekly to quarterly, and then for attendance, day-to-day or weekly, depending on who's doing that. We've never done work for attendance that we're doing right now. And we've got more things in the plan for next year, but front office people, we've got APs and principals calling and checking on kids while they're sick, things like that. There are attendance teams at schools. In our committee for MTSS this past year, chronic absenteeism, and I know that we've heard this, is how to sense of belonging to get them to school. So it's such a big thing, and everybody's on deck all the time, and it's creating those relationships with kids to want to be there. So I would say daily. So we do daily. You're a level of kids, right? You have to communicate to families. And when they're failing or they're doing great academically, we need to reach out and talk to the parents. So many things come into this, but as far as data and like the big picture things that we are credited with, that I would say quarterly at the least, but more so between.
Probably good to know too that the strategic plan guides us more daily, weekly, monthly. The comprehensive plan is an overview of the year so that we can go back and look at each year compared to, so this would be the first year that we have this, and next year, how do we refine it to make it even stronger over the year? So,
I mean, I guess what I was kind of getting at is, instead of waiting for the year in and seeing how accumulated all, our checkpoints in, you can refine, refocus our attention in second grade math is struggling, or however it may be.
that's more of the strategic plan that we have, because it's a little bit more detailed.
And last week, our principals, I think it was last week, got together and we created needs assessments and then school improvement plans set out by the performance framework from the state. And that is a quarterly check to progress monitor different things that they need to do to improve their school, whether it's attendance, engagement, school climate. Schools are doing more for school climate than they ever have. A lot of them have their house system and different rewards and things like that. And then again, attendance goals in there. So there's lots of things going on every day and weekly, but like Mr. Graham said, comprehensive is our big plan, but to me, it's going to be updated very often, not just at the end of the year, because we want to, hone in and try to get things corrected as soon as we can.
On those spreadsheets you gave us, Mr. Graham, you had different categories and demographics and how they perform and all that kind of stuff. Is it possible to take someone that's filtered to that and run queries and stuff, to take the ones with chronic absenteeism, and you to pull them from the academic side, to see what it would look like for kids, how they're performing in that hard school? If we were able to remove these chronic absenteeism, this shows that absenteeism equals. Is that possible?
We can do that. Sure.
I mean, I think
You're saying that the ones to remove these students that are chronically absent to see how our scores would look without those students. Yes.
it would be a lot of maintenance because
We can do that.
unless there was teachers listed, you could look at teacher performance.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? But you have to do at least a lot of manual things to do. And I think it's something worthwhile.
Yes, we can do that and have that for you too. That shouldn't be too hard at all. That's something I'm sure Debbie can work on as well. She's very skilled in that. I'm not. But she can get that. She's very good. That's actually a really good point. That will tell us, really show us how important it is to really reduce chronic absenteeism.
Maybe your resident students did.
Yeah, good.
Parents.
Absolutely. Good point.
Parents, right? Any questions for Dr. Graham? Thank you. Very good.
Thank you, Tara.
A lot of information tonight. Now we'll move on to exciting stuff, like the calendar. Mr. Grant.
So we are very excited that we are coming up on the 25-26 school year and have a lot of things going on. I'm actually headed out tomorrow to Richmond with President Brett and Roxanne, a couple of the deans at RU, and going to try to get a River Valley Governor's School for the Arts and Humanities. So that's exciting. We have our leadership meeting on Thursday and Friday with our leadership team. And then Monday, we welcome our new teachers, veteran teachers. Our new teachers will be with us here, correct? Is that right, here in middle school? And then we have our convocation that I hope you all are able to come to on Tuesday. We'll do the welcome, and then we have some professional development. And then we have our open houses for 7th and 8th, 10th, 11th, and 12th on Wednesday. Thursday, we have open house for elementary, 6th and 9th grade. Friday's a teacher work day, Monday's a teacher work day. And then we have our orientation for 6th and 9th for a half a day, pre-K, it should be K there too, shouldn't it? Pre-K, 6th and 9th, a half day. Those that aren't doing that will have a work day. We do have a regular school board meeting, and that's nice to have too, because we can get the rest of the personnel report approved so that our teachers are ready to go when the students come. And then our first day is the 13th, and then I hope you all are, I think you know about the back to school batch on the 14th. We're really looking forward to that. It'll be a lot of fun. Hoping that the community will take advantage of that too. I believe we have food and everything really for that.
We have a petting zoo.
Petting zoo, bounties.
We have a speaker.
Yes, we have a wonderful speaker, Robert Jackson, come to that. It'll be a really good time.
And where's that being held again?
At the high school,
At the high
yes,
school,
at the high
okay.
school, the football, or practice field. So we're really excited about that.
That's Sunday they're having, at the little theater, we're having back to school prayer.
Yes.
It's gonna be a pretty big event.
Yeah, I think that'll be big too. Thank you for.
And you did mention that you all have, the school board offices have moved to
Oh,
Northwood.
we were gonna tell you, thank you for that. If you haven't come by to see it, please come by. It is phenomenal. Jess and his team did an outstanding job. Our contractors, we are so happy there. It's pleasant, it's quiet. The offices are big. It's got outside space that we can, we're thinking about getting a grill so that we can grill some.
Just don't make things mad when we get down.
Picnic tables. It's really, really nice. I mean, it turned out, and I think we need to have an open house there for our community to come by and look at it once we clean it up.
Several former folks that work there, they want to go back and see it.
Oh, good, okay. We need to wait probably till the boardroom's ready, which will probably be September. But that at least allows us to get school started, and then I think we should do a big to-do, because it's good, it's nice.
I agree, I think we should, we'll also do a little open house
Yes.
for, invite everybody, but yeah, I was there last Friday and stopped by. It is very nice, I'm glad to see everybody starting to settle in. My only request would be, put some names on the doors. I don't know who Suite H-01 is.
They're there now. If you came back tomorrow, you can see that the names are on there.
Who's done this mystery hallway? So, but it's gonna be really nice. But yeah, I mean, the boardroom's coming along. They were, they had the sheet rocked up on the dais, and it's coming, so be by September.
Yeah, thank you all for allowing us to move there. I think it's gonna be a cost savings for us, but since we're not paying any rent anymore. We did pay rent for in August, and that's to help us move out. We're pretty much moved in.
So we broke the trend, we've actually made use of one of our own schools. And instead of, didn't have to give it away to somebody
Yeah,
else to
please come by and
repurpose.
visit, we'd love to have you.
Thank you. Okay, moving on, is there any questions that y'all would, no? Thank you. Action items for tonight, we have decided we will table the BSBA media honor roll resolutions, because the details indicate we need the entire school board to vote on that, and with Mrs. Scott's not being here, we will see that back on the action items in our August meeting. Title III, Part A, this was presented to us, sorry. Travel per diem, Ms. Galar presented that to us last meeting. Want to refresh our memory on that one?
So our current rates for per diem travel are $36 for overnight and $27 for travel days. We're proposing that we raise that to $45 for overnight and $33 for travel days. That difference in rate is necessary just to comply with IRS regulations, where it has to be 75% of your per diem.
Do you have any questions
Yes.
Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Mrs. Payne?
Yes.
Mr. Price?
Yes.
Thank you. Now we can go into Title III, Part A application. That was due to us. Can you refresh our memories a little bit on that one?
I think Ms. Carter is coming up to do that.
Oh, okay, there she is. Sorry, I'm looking for it.
Thank you, Madam Chair, Mr. Graham, and members of the board. It's nice to be here with you this evening. The Title III was not attached, but was for this month's meeting, for your review. There are 4 focal areas written into the 25-26 Title III grant. This is all supplemental money. So it includes a supplemental EL summer enrichment program at summer school, supplemental family literacy reading programs, and a portion toward elevation, which is our EL program management pay rates. These are pretty consistent across our Title III applications, but I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Is it, the total 6,000, below 6,000, that was it?
Yes, 6,000,
That's a lot of work for $6,000.
I did recall looking that over, and I thought, that's a lot of paperwork to do.
Only change I saw was change the address. They want me to do.
She spreads that out so well too, throughout the whole year, but that's terrific. That's painful.
Questions? Can I get a motion that we approve the Title III Part A application for 25-26?
Madam Chair, I'll make that motion.
Second.
Thank you, Mrs. Horton.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Mrs. Payne?
Yes.
Mr. Price?
Yes.
Thank you.
Our VSBA policy updates, now that we've had an opportunity to discuss those, may I get a motion that we approve the latest batch of VSBA policy updates?
Madam Chair, I'll make that motion.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Mrs. Horton?
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Mr. Williams? Mrs. Payne?
Yes.
Mr. Price?
Yes.
Special Education Advisory Committee application. Dr. Fulch.
Madam Chair, members of the board, Dr. Graham just asked if this has to be done by code, and I think it's pertinent to say, yes, we have to approve every CAP committee member application. I'm not sure about the other committees, but it is written in code that we have to, so I'm bringing a new member to you. We're currently sitting at 4 members. If we accept this member, our maximum is 7. Our parent members have to outweigh our community members and our teacher members. We're only allowed to have 1 teacher on the committee. So this young lady, Katrina Hall, would be a community member, and she works with New River Valley Community Action, which is Head Start, CHIP, Emergency Assistance and Housing. And she would serve as a community rep to provide additional resources, to give some voice to the people that she works with. It's a nice pairing, it works really well together. So I would recommend that we would accept her application. We also need another member, so it would be great.
Any questions for Dr. Fulch? Can I get a motion that we approve the application of the newest member of Special Education Advisory Committee?
Madam Chair, I'll make that motion.
Second.
Thank you. Mrs. Porter?
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Mrs. Payne?
Yes.
Mr. Price?
Yes.
Thank you all.
Okay, that brings us to the end of the action items. Any future agenda items that board members, any requests for, or other comments?
No future agenda items, but I'd just like to say to Dr. Grant and her team, thanks for putting on wonderful professional development. Our teachers are asking for more development opportunities, so continue on with that endeavor. And the Pulaski County Book Bus had its last day, and it was another successful season of summertime reading, so congratulations to those folks.
Over 2,000 books
Yeah.
given to Pulaski County students. That's great.
Yes.
It was impressive, and the whole summer, I mean, through the book bus, highlighting what we are able to do the community, the professional development, symposium you pulled together, your team was really remarkable. To see the number of people participating, and not just from Pulaski County, came from neighboring counties to be here. What request I might have for a future agenda item, and it stems from getting these questions all the time, how do booster clubs work with them, how the funding comes in. Would it be possible to have, an informational time presented to us from our two athletic directors?
Why don't we have, Mr. Best and Mr. Byers come and present to you?
Okay.
Would August be,
Well, I mean, that's asking a lot to pull that
Yeah,
together. I know a lot of
about-
questions we
about
always
September?
get, you know.
September be okay?
If September be fine.
Okay.
You know, parents or students even, you know, asking
Yeah.
questions of what kind of funding do they have? How is it used? You know, do we have to do fundraising? What are the booster clubs there for? I mean, be able to maybe publicly.
Can we consolidate some of those efforts to have a more concerted effort to fundraise?
Right.
We have to do that. I'm sure Morgan would like the money to come from one source, not a million nickels and dimes.
Or somebody just wants to raise that check.
Richie, ready to check one?
Okay.
Yeah, we can make that one happen. Is that Teresa, can you add that one on there and I'll email that tomorrow?
Great, thank you. Okay, this brings us to our second opportunity to recognize citizens. Is there anyone here that wishes to address the board?